Welcome to our podcast, Neighbors Don't Knock. Join us as these neighbors drop by unannounced for conversations that are fun, relevant, and just downright neighborly. 2020 is burning. They're bringing marshmallows, a desire to talk about it, and their mission to laugh now and again, no matter what. Now, here's your hosts, Brian Chambers and Philip Goffrey.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. I'm Brian Chambers.
And I'm Philip Goffrey.
Welcome to Neighbors Don't Knock, the show where neighbors drop by unannounced and get real. Phil, how you doing today, man?
Man, I'm awesome.
I'm glad to see that.
I'm awesome.
You look a little rejuvenated, like
I
get a little color in your face.
I do. I feel rejuvenated. I feel young. I feel good. I'm ready to completely just vent and bitch and talk about everything under the sun.
Well, I'm ready to get started on that. But before we do, I'm going to let you guys know that this show is brought to you by Breathe River Oaks. Does working from home and social distancing have you feeling cooped up, stir crazy, and a little stressed? Staying active and exercising is one of the most important things you can do to boost your immunity and help de-stress. Get healthy and fit with workouts from Misty at Breathe River Oaks, right from the comfort of your home. Take online classes or join the virtual 28-day lockdown challenge. For more information, go to www.breatheriveroaks.com or call 346-333-1593.
I'm actually going to look that up right now because I'm quite curious about what the lockdown challenge actually is.
The lockdown challenge. I know, right? It sounds really intriguing.
Like being in lockdown has been a challenge. It must be a double challenge if you can call it a lockdown challenge. That's got to be.
Well, I mean, these days, everything is all about health, right? So anything that we're doing, it's almost like we have to be cautious about what we do and what we eat and what exercises we're doing or.
Well, it's true, especially during COVID, right? Because,
we're not doing anything.
No. And at the beginning, when 7 drinks seemed okay, we got to scale that back now. That's
right. I mean, imagine if you had to pair the liquor stores with a health fitness,
I think it's not a bad idea.
Do you think it would work? Sponsor that up together. It's like, hey, get your Pilates and yoga on, and then go have a drink.
If you're giving free liquor, it might work, right? But if you're not giving away freebies, I'm not so sure that anyone's going to jump and do some burpees in order to get their bottle of whiskey. That's just not going to line up.
I just don't think that people walking in to buy liquor, wine and beer are the most considerate shoppers, to be honest, because they're, you imagine like a yoga class going on and trying to tell people that are going in to get whiskey for their party, like, shh, namaste.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
yeah,
right.
I don't think they would quite reciprocate. I try to be courteous though when I shop for beer and wine and whiskey.
I hope
and
you
gin
do. I mean, I think you should be, regardless of
I say please,
whatever.
Thank you.
Move the hell out of my way. You've been standing looking at the same bottle for an hour.
Followed by a thank you.
Exactly. Well, all right, let's jump into it. There's a couple things that I just wanted to talk about today. It's come up this week, and it was, I don't know if it's been burning on my mind, but it has got me thinking and got me a lot more curious.
What you got?
Well, Mike Tyson's back in the news.
Oh.
I say Mike Tyson's back in the news.
Oh, get the.
I don't have the tattoo.
Which side is it? It's this side, right?
Yeah.
You get the. I thought it was a good idea, Tam.
That's right, but he got that stare down, man. I mean, it's just like
it's terrifying.
It is terrifying.
It
It's
is.
like you're right, and we were talking about this earlier. Like every time he says a statement that he is 100%, whether he's right or wrong, he believes he's right. He just stares you down.
He's a terrifying man. I mean, come on.
He's
from our
he's got a
childhood
spiritual
forward.
side. He's got a spiritual side now.
I get it. But I've read lots of spiritual texts, and in many of them, there's some wrath going on. You can be one with whatever Lord you choose and still be absolutely terrifying. That man is terrifying.
Well, that's true. But he is starting basically a senior bout. So Mike Tyson wants to fight again. Are you shocked?
I'm not shocked.
No.
And he, in all fairness to Mike Tyson, right, sounds like Michael Jackson and can whoop most people's lily asses.
I'm sure. Oh, I'm sure. Now, okay, this is the interesting thing, though. Okay, so he wants to start up this this seniors bout, or this legend kind of, they're calling it Frontline Battle. That's what they're calling it.
Which,
it's going to be a pay-per-view event.
Could probably sell.
I'm sure it will sell. I'm really wanting to tune into that. I really do. But this is the most interesting thing. He's going to be fighting Roy Jones Jr. And Roy Jones Jr. is not a scrub. Now, again, these are Mike Tyson.
Younger, right? He's younger.
He is a little younger than Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is 54 years old. And this is supposed to take place on September 12th. This is also what got me, the date, September 12th. That means that one of two things has had to been going on. They've had to been training or doing something prior to, because it's going to be August. I mean, you're talking less than a month, and you're talking about a guy in his 50s being able to last 8 rounds without keeling over. I mean, I believe they can go hard like 1 or 2, maybe 3 rounds, 8 rounds. I just don't see that happening without someone getting wheezy, an oxygen tank over there in the corner, like rolling it out. I mean, the manager's going to have like a different set of things going on. So it's going to be very interesting, but I am going to be tuned in to watch.
You're gonna watch it, really?
I want to see.
Man,
I mean, Tyson,
I don't know if I can watch it.
Really? Well, okay, what they charge for pay-per-view these days.
Well, there's that.
I mean, what is it, like $100 just to watch a match?
It's
something? It's ridiculous.
Like your firstborn and
sign away. But okay, so in their primes, in all fairness, Tyson was 50-6 with 44 knockouts. Okay, he last fought in 2005. Okay, so that was the last time he fought.
I would have guessed longer. I had no idea he fought that recently.
Yeah, it was 2005. So, but still, that's 15 years. 15 years in any sport is a long time to be out.
It's a whole person. Like, it's a whole development of
exactly.
a person to be out of a sport.
Exactly. Now, Roy was 66-9 with 47 knockouts and fought as recently as 2 years ago, is what it says. So, and he is 51 years old. So, that tells me right away that Roy Jones has been keeping up, but I'm not doubting Mike Tyson can get in shape, and I've seen some video of him. Like, he wants to tear someone's head off.
It sounds to me like you're doubting.
I'm doubting.
It sounds.
I'm
so
doubting.
Your money is on Roy.
Oh yeah, my money's definitely on Roy. Huh. I think Tyson's going to give him a good show for probably about 2 or 3, maybe 3 rounds. Maybe 3 rounds. But I think after that, there's just no way. I mean, this is what kills me a little bit. He's talking about why, when they can still do the sport, why can't they still be that athlete? And I'm just, because you're in your 50s and it's a contact sport where you're getting beaten.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that amazes me, right? These were both heavyweights?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right?
Light heavyweights. Yeah.
Light heavyweights. Okay. So for a normal person, one ungloved punch could kill you.
Well, he does say that in one interview. He does recognize the fact that it's a dangerous sport, and you, regardless of whether you're 20 or 54, you could die. I mean, the unwritten law, they say in boxing, is
the unwritten law.
I mean, you basically sign your life away when it's like going skydiving. It's like how many I've been skydiving, and every page you go to and turn to sign our initial, like the bottom of the page says "in case of death."
Right, except the difference is when you jump out of the plane, you're plummeting down to the earth. You're not getting like slammed in the head over and over again by some 300-pound monster. Just like beating the crap out of you. That'd be something. That's a sport.
Oh, monsters?
No, skydive boxing.
Skydive boxing?
Just 2 guys coming together and like trying to land a punch as they're
just flipping around.
They're doing the whole like stunts and stuff.
Sponsored by SpaceX.
That would totally be sponsored by SpaceX. No, it wouldn't be. It would be sponsored by like a different company of his, right? It'd be like the Boring Company or somebody would have like, didn't the Boring Company do the BS flamethrower that wasn't really a flamethrower? It was like a roof tile torch that they then made look like a flamethrower.
Maybe. I'm now picturing Spaceballs with Mel Brooks, Spaceballs, the flamethrower.
Merchandising.
Yeah. Merchandising. Yeah. We're merchandising.
Yeah, fair enough.
So, I mean, they're going to sell a lot with this, but, I mean, that begs the question, do you think athletes, not just in boxing, as he was stating, in any sport, can still compete? Now, I know they have developmental leagues or they have these these leagues in basketball now that are, for older basketball players. But basketball is a game that you're talking about, not a lot of contact. There's some, and there is risk of injury, but when you're literally trying to...
Basketball now is like soccer, right? All
That's
the contact is like way over the top. They're all like flopping everywhere.
It's great acting, man. Oh, it's great acting. Well, I will say this, though. There are some really nasty soccer spills. I've seen some nasty soccer spills, but I agree with you. I think it is all completely bad acting. I think it's horrible. Like even the basketball players, I think some of them deserve some Oscars nominations.
Yeah. And at least the soccer guys are like, they're out putting 3 or 4 pints down after the game. And they're like, right, mate, it was amazing. They're bloodied up.
Well, that's the thing. Even if they're not, at least they have like grass and stuff all over them. So it looks like at least it looks like they took a little bit,
It's true.
So
it's like the French and the Italians are over the top with the drama, and then the English come in. They're just like rough and tumble. They're all like rugby players that didn't want to go that route, so they went soccer instead of football. And they just...
I'd like you the football.
And they just beat the ever-loving shit out of each other all day long. Slide tackling is a way of life. They got scars up and down their legs.
Well,
it's vicious. It's vicious stuff, Brian, I tell you.
It is. I mean, I could never box, but... I could never box. It would be one shot.
I love you, buddy.
One shot.
I could never box. You could never box.
I could never box. The only advantage I'd have is the fact that I'm too small, that they would just be missing me. That's the only hope that I would have to survive around.
I would just be mean. They would kick me out of the league so fast. I would go for knees, nuts, and ears. That's all I would. Like, I would have no choice. I'd be so terrified in the ring. I'd be like, kick the nuts, run away. There's no other way I could do it. Some guys, I was like, put the nuts, go.
Oh, so you're like Little Mac in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Battling, what was it?
I am totally I remember that. I am completely like Little Mac in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. That's a great way to put it. But we're going to find one. I bet they're hard to find.
I still have one in storage. I just don't know if it works.
Oh, it works. I can fix anything with a soldering gun sometime.
Okay, I'll have to get it out.
Soldering iron. I can do it.
We'll get the Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. All right, so
Nintendo, it's all broke. I'll fix it. Soldering iron. Yeah, I can make that happen. All
right, we'll have a little Mike Tyson bout.
That'd be amazing.
There we go.
But for our own bout, you're on. I'll take Tyson in the fight, and we'll watch it.
Okay.
All right. We'll figure out terms of the bet later.
We'll have to. And hey, if you guys at home, think, what do you think the terms should be?
I'd like to know.
Let us know what you think we should be wagering.
I'd like to know. I'd like
and for
to know
those
what
of you
these
guys at
fine
home
folks,
too, yeah,
they're like, I'm gonna make him suffer.
That's right.
I'm gonna come up with the most ridiculous shit. I remember Phil Godfrey. He was an asshole.
Well,
Tyson for the win.
All right, I'm gonna go with
rounds?
I'm gonna say. Oh, this one's kind of tough because I feel like they want to get their money's worth, so I feel like they're going to push it to 8 rounds by decision.
Right, and does Tyson own this league that he's starting? Like, is it his thing? I bet it is.
He's kind of like the Vince McMahon of it, I feel.
Yeah. Okay.
So
you're right. We're going to get close to 8 rounds.
I think we're going to go at least 7 rounds unless someone gets knocked out. That's the only way it will stop. I think we'll get the full 8 rounds actually. No, okay. I think I'm going to go 8 rounds with decision.
All right, I'm going to bring in some second opinions on this. I've got a not tonight, but I've got a customer and a friend who's a boxer himself right now. I'm going to see if I can get his opinion on whether or not I'm going to get my clock cleaned in this bet or not.
I've heard some people saying that he's going to get knocked out. There's going to be a knockout within 30 seconds.
That Tyson knocks him out.
I've heard both.
Iron Mike, baby.
And I think that he's going to go for it. But again, you wonder in the contract, is there anything? Because they're in their 50s, man. No one wants to.
If it's in the contract, it's under the section called illegal.
That's right.
That's
right. I just don't know. Yeah. I just don't know.
You go down in 6. I don't want to go down. You go down in 6.
No, I think this is not going to catch on. I think Tyson is dreaming. I think he's pulling a nice publicity stunt. It's getting him back in the ring. And if Roy wants to get in there, hey, more power to him. But I don't think this is going to catch on. I think it's a little ludicrous to think that athletes that get out of contact sports and go into their 50s, even if they think they can still play, there's a lot of things I think I can do, and then as soon as I do them,
you might be right.
I'm just like, man, that wasn't such a good idea.
You might be right. You might be right. They might be lying to themselves.
I think he is lying to himself. I absolutely do.
You know, that brings me to what I wanted to gripe about tonight.
Lay it on me.
Completely unrelated
All
to, geriatric gloves on. I'm going to whoop your ass. Yeah. You know.
You have to put two mouthpieces
Totally
in, one for the teeth and one for the...
I can't even do the voice. I can't. I can try, but I'll spare everybody the pain and suffering. No. So what's been driving me absolutely insane all day long, and I can't get my mind off of it, is lying to yourself, lying to people, lying to your coworkers, right? Lying to your family. So, I'm not even sure how I want to get into this, but what's been driving me,
you just look like you're gonna burst.
I feel like I got so much to say.
It's like ooh, like what was it, the Willy Wonka girl that got to take her to the squeezing room or whatever, the juicing room.
Was that Veruca?
Violet.
Was that
was Violet? She
Okay.
turned.
That's right. That was
Violet.
Violet. That makes sense. That makes sense. Right. My opinion, I take a very House MD look on lying, right? Like, my opinion is everyone lies. Like, lying is part of human nature. And some people do it, pathologically and compulsively, and some people do it like in really big ways, and some people do it in like really small ways, right? So my daughter, for example, she's still young enough and sweet enough that when she lies, she comes up and she fesses up, right? She gives herself up. She gives up the goat. She goes as long as she can, which thankfully is usually no longer than like a couple of hours, sometimes a couple of days, but usually a couple of hours. She goes, Daddy, you're going to be so mad at me.
That's a great way to start it, right?
I know. It's like,
so if I started a conversation with my wife that way.
And you want to tell, no, sweetie, I won't be. But then you're like, well, what if she like flushed my wedding ring down the toilet or something? I don't want to, So you're like, well, maybe. Well, what'd you do? Maybe I might be furious.
Bite your lip just a little bit, right?
I might be furious. And then she tells you, and your head explodes. You're like, I was traveling fairly recently, a little Chloe's confession moment, right? I was traveling and to a family's house, and they had one of those smart learning thermostats. They had that Nest thermostat, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have one personally, but I know.
They needed some help working on this thing, and I get it all nicely polished up and set up, and like their account's working perfectly. And all of a sudden, the temperature on the damn thing starts just jumping like 10 degrees one direction, 14 degrees the other direction. And I can't figure out what the hell's going on. I didn't start doing it until I messed with it. So I'm like, oh my gosh, what did I do? It was already installed. I didn't mess with the wires. Well, eventually I messed with the wires, trying to figure out what was going on. I ripped the damn thing off the wall. I rewired it. I rewired like half of the furnace, reprogrammed this thing no less than 50 times. Like 6 days into just ripping my hair out, my daughter finally, Daddy, you're going to be so mad at me, right? Yeah, it was her the whole time. Right? Wait until we're not looking. She was hot, so beep, 20 degrees to frigid. She gets, little cold, but blah, 90,
I just
fucking thing is going like blue and orange. And it was so
I really
bad.
wanted to see your face when you found out. Like, if someone had a camera on your face, like right when you hear the confession, because it's like, what do you like as a father? You're thankful. You got to be thankful that she's fessing up, but at the same time, you're just like,
well, I mean,
I just want to squeeze your adorable face.
I was thankful that I didn't break the bloody thermostat. I thought that I had like fried this thing. I'm about to go buy them a new one, Yeah, I was thankful for her to fess up to the crime. Kudos to her for coming and fessing up, right? But to me, like the big thing that's been driving me crazy, because I've been experiencing this recently in my professional life, is adults who bold-faced lie, right? So I'll admit it, right? I'm a big fish kind of guy. I am. My stories, they're all true, but, it's a New York City rat kind of thing, right? Like the rat was this big, it was the biggest rat I've ever seen.
It's always this big.
I'm telling you right now, I've seen a lot of Dobermans and I've seen a lot of rats, and this rat was more Doberman than rat. You know what I'm saying? That just like, that's how my stories go. I can't help it. My memory, makes things grand.
I have to ask though, okay, is that really a New York thing? Is that really
the rat thing?
The rat thing, like to make it that bigger. I mean, I have family
rats and roaches.
Rats and roaches. Okay, because I have family up there, and I hear stuff all the time. But I always, and my uncle does kind of the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a New England thing.
A little more subtle, but he does does the same thing.
Yeah, so like when you get down south, the big fish story are big fish stories, right? They're always about like the, yeah, I shot this buck. It had 562 points. Like they just make they make.
Did you see that trout?
Totally.
Yeah. I get it, guy. I got it.
That's a Southern thing.
Okay,
right?
Yeah, fair enough.
Or they talk about like you ain't never had cornbread till you had my auntie's cornbread. That's the best cornbread anybody ever. You can ask anybody in 6 counties, they're gonna tell you that cornbread's the best cornbread they ever had. Like that kind of stuff is.
Yeah,
right?
like that's more of a Georgia. But
right?
a Southern thing. I get it. Okay.
But you get up to New England, right? You get up to Philly and New York, and anywhere past Maryland, right? And everybody who tells stories, it's like, listen, I know a thing or two about blah, right? About carburetors. You've never seen a carburetor as gunked up as this. It was so gunked up that we took a blowtorch to it for 4 hours, right? And it was just that good. They go on and on and on and on about anything. So
is it always 4 hours? She was in there for 4 hours. It's always 4 hours.
It's true. That's a really good point. It really is, But yeah, New York City, in particular, like Brooklyn and Long Island, like all that area, man, the rat thing. I've heard it so many times. Men, women. Oh my God, I saw this rat. It was so humongous. They're just going nuts. The guy's like, honey, calm down. It wasn't that big. Then they turn over to like Vinny and like, it was the biggest fucking rat I've ever seen. They whisper it. The thing was like the size of a dog. Right.
I killed it. It took 4 hours to die. It took 4 hours to die.
It took 4 hours to find it, 4 hours to trap it, 4 hours for it to die. Then I had to drive it 4 hours out of the city to drop it off in the fucking woods. You know what I'm saying? Like,
all right. Let's say you had your daughter up in New York, not down here. Do you think that she would be, personality-wise, you think she'd still be that same kind of, she'd have that innocent, I'm going to let you know, just because that may just be your...
Oh, you mean like if she was born up there?
Yeah, like do you think she would have adopted kind of a different strategy, or do you think she'd still be the same confession liar? That's what I call it. The
confession liar?
The confession liar.
Chloe's confessions.
That's right. There you go.
Should be retitled, Chloe, what'd you lie about now? I don't know if I can answer that question, but I can say that there's an element of this whole Southern living goodness that definitely affects her, right? Because I've been here long enough now that I don't quite notice it about myself, but whenever I go back up to the Northeast, all the time people are calling me out on stuff that just seems normal to us, right? Like I say hi to everybody, right?
Yeah.
Apparently when I moved here, I didn't say hi to fucking anybody, because like, hey, you talking to me? People get upset, right? You're like, it's like that scene in
Mind
Blue
your
Heaven.
business. Mind your business.
Totally. It's like that scene in My Blue
the
Heaven
grocery
where he's going to the grocery store, right?
Have a nice day.
Fuck you. Yeah, exactly, right? It's a New England thing. But what about man, the adults that just like bold-faced lie? Like I've worked with people over the years, but I can't tell you, in my professional career, so many times, people that just outright bold-face make up the most outlandish shit.
Well, okay, that's where I feel you on that, because it's not even the little stuff that I sweat a lot about. It's when, like you said, it's so outlandish. It's right in your face. You know it.
Yeah.
It's like why can't you just tell me you're literally making this up? And it's like telling a story. It's like, it was a big fucking rat. It's like, no, I was there. There was no rat. It was like, but I agree with you. I don't understand why there is still that need, especially when you get to that point.
It's weird stuff. It really is. I worked with a guy a couple of years back. I don't know. It's like 10 years ago or so. This dude would make up shit that was like off the scale ridiculous and just try to like just stare you right in the face. Like, are you calling me a liar? You know, he would say, this guy was
like how he gangstered you up. Just like, you're going to call me out. It's like, I just watched you.
This guy's like, 5'6", right? As wide as he is tall. And he would say things like, up until like 2 years ago, I could run a 6.5 minute mile, no problem, but recently my knee has been bothering me. So now I'm down to 7.5. And you're looking at him, you're going,
seriously,
haven't run for anything but a Twinkie in like 8 years, right? Since high school. He would say things like, yeah, it's always about working out with this guy. I was benching this morning and I was putting up like, 320, but it just didn't feel right in my shoulders. So I had to drop it down to like 220. And you're like, Olympians don't. What's the matter with you? Like heavy lifters aren't making these claims. Crazy, crazy stuff.
What is it about guys that are completely out of shape? That always have to like, is that how you boost yourself up? Like talk about like working out? Like, I was benching 350. I was like, yeah,
we do it to ourselves, man.
You couldn't pick up a 5 pound, weight there. You're saying you're benching 350.
We do it to ourselves. How often have you looked in the mirror, right? Like after you've like just barely gotten something on and you're like, that works.
Oh
right?
Man, I
You're
give
pressure testing.
I give myself like compliments all the time, man. I'm like, yeah. Like my wife actually has caught me. Like she's like come home and I'd be sitting there and I mean I know she's there, but like she's actually overheard because I'm like, yeah, you look good. Like I have to give myself that boost a little bit.
See, I should start doing more of what you do, right? Because typically I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh my God.
Well, it's bleeding into so many other things. I mean, like you said, it drives you nuts because one, they're lying when there's no need to. Like,
well, that's the thing.
Like there's no repercussions or there's what are you going to gain from lying? Like I understand if someone's doing something and, like you have the nice lies. Like, no, honey, you don't look horrible and that,
I like that you went right to the spouse or the girlfriend or boyfriend or the partner, right? You're like, no, honey. Yeah. It's kind of like my wife's like, be honest, how many drinks did you have? And I'm going, two. And my brain, 5,
It's like, yeah, no, I agree. So that's different. There's a reason. It's like, okay, well, we don't want to get them upset or we're
You're
trying to be nice.
Them. Yeah.
But
that's
how
I write it.
We're
off.
protecting.
Yeah.
I used that right.
You did the on camera. You did the air quotes right.
That's right. We got that witness.
We have video evidence now that you can actually do this. I like it. It's terrible.
I mean, I know we joke like going to the doctor and how they ask you a question and the doctors are just like, yep, liar, liar, liar,
Well, that's the worst, right? Because the doctor knows that you are so full. Like the doctor's going, does he believe this? Or no, he doesn't believe this. He's just an asshole.
You actually,
it's just like,
I would love to hear what a doctor's really thinking on random patient checkups.
It'd be a good skit.
That would be great. I'd love to really hear their inner thoughts of what they're actually saying.
Yeah. And how much would you say you drink, per week, just on average? 1 or 2 a day.
Oh, you look great.
Yeah, 1 or 2 an hour. You're looking like, and you work out, right? Oh yeah, I'm a runner. Runner. As if I didn't just take your blood pressure and listen to your heart.
That's like not making that marathon this year.
Yeah. You have the inners of a runner. I could hear them just like,
Exactly. No, I'm just, I have a friend who's a doctor. I'm gonna see maybe we can get him on the show. I'd love to hear his take.
I'd like to hear it. Like he's a general practitioner.
Well, he's actually a surgeon.
Oh, well, that's a whole different thing.
But I mean, he did have to do residency and all that, and I'm sure he sees patients. I'm sure he has to do post-op and things. Doc, I feel fine. I can get back out there.
I'd like to know if it works that way. Like if it's the House MD thing where he has to go and like do rounds and play like GP in the hospital, because I don't know of any friend of mine who's a surgeon or like a really high up doctor that actually has to do that, or if they do, they don't admit to it. But I would love to know if that's really a thing.
Maybe he might not be able to say as much as we'd like, but maybe we can get him on here and we can check it out.
Can you imagine you're like, top 4 neurosurgeon in the Western world, and it's like, okay, well, it's your turn to do the rounds. You know, some woman is in there. She's like, it's my ass. It's killing me. He's like, well, maybe if you had some more fiber.
Do you think they flip a coin for things like that?
Oh, yeah. Rock, paper, scissors.
You go, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll owe you one.
Yeah. Rock, paper, scalpel. Whatever,
Yeah, there you go.
whatever they would do, you know?
Well,
I think so.
I completely see where you're coming from. And we'd like to know what you guys think. You know, let us know. I mean, do you think that lying to protect someone is okay? Or do you think just purely, why do it? Don't do it at all. You know, I'd like to hear. You can go check us out on our Facebook. Hit us up on Twitter. You know, I like to have the one person who like absolutely never, ever, ever lies to post up. Right? Oh,
Nothing,
if you,
ever.
yeah,
No exaggerations.
if you are out there and you are one of those brutally honest, I'd love to hear that too, because I'd love to hear how those conversations go.
I dig it.
Heck, man, we'd love to have him on the show. I'd just be really curious to see how that
because
would go.
that, like even Ricky Gervais lies, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
he has to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm looking at my glass here.
Yeah, I've been empty for a while.
I've been empty, so it is time to get going. Phil, man, I appreciate you letting me come by. It's been great.
I appreciate you letting me vent. Thank you.
yeah.
Good to see you, Bri.
Yeah, you too. So you guys go check us out on social media, or you can go to www.neighborsdon'tknock.com. Let us know what you think. Subscribe to the podcast, and we will see you guys next Friday. Peace
Out.